Hey, everyone, it's Jeronica.
What's going on? It's Andy.
Cheers, it's Cheryl.
Howdy, it's Sultan, and this is Logging into UKG, a Chicago Users production.
Of course, your favorite HCM podcast by HCM admins for HCM admins. And we got a special treat for you today, folks.
For the first time ever in Logging into UKG's history, we have not one, but two guests at once. So we're very excited for that. With us today from the UX Research and Analytics team, we have Margaret Davey, who is a senior UX researcher, and Bri Keenan, a lead UX researcher. Margaret and Bri, welcome very much to the podcast.
Thank you very much
for having us.
We are glad to have you here.
Dare I started off by saying this is like episode 2 where we're popping cherries. Just out there in the land. Why not be controversial on this one? Double the dose of fun. So, ladies, we're excited to have you here. We're happy. I love to start a good podcast guest conversation off, getting to know the both of you. Let's start with you, Margaret. Tell us a little bit about, your role, how long you've been with UKG, maybe something you really love about it, but also who are you outside of UKG? Because there's always more to work and more to life than just showing up and collecting a paycheck. And then Bri, if you don't mind, we'll toss it to you after Margaret's kind of done.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me today. I'm really excited to be here and share more about UX research, which is often something behind the scenes that people don't get to hear about. So I have been with UKG almost 2 years. It'll be my 2 years in April. And since then, I've worked on Ready. I've worked with small businesses, trying to understand more about how they work. I've worked a lot with WFM, which is our workforce management platform. And I've done a lot with healthcare and retail and hospitality, and really trying to understand, what are the ins and outs of the scheduling process, the timekeeping process for all of these different verticals. So it has been, I came into particularly my experience with the healthcare piece, knowing nothing really at all about healthcare. It is amazing how much you can learn in the span of even 2 or 3 months just by talking to customers and trying to understand the day-to-day of what you do on a day-to-day basis. That applies to every single vertical, but healthcare in particular has been particularly challenging, and I understand that there's a lot that has to go in with that. So one of my favorite things about UKG is I absolutely love our UX research team and just the people that I work with. You probably hear that a lot. We just have some really great people at UKG who care a lot about the people around us as well as our users, and want to make sure that we are creating experiences that are great for anyone who uses both our products and also works in the company. So I've gotten to know a lot of people across different verticals, and I feel like I'm meeting a new person every single week, just depending on what project I'm working on, and, learning about who they are as a person as well as who they are at work. So to your second question of who am I outside of work, I am someone who I love cooking. I teach cooking classes on the side. I also, have worked at an apple orchard. I love being able to, that's like my hidden fun fact of, I can tell you what type of apple you're picking. I also
That's cool.
just love, yeah. I love sports. I love, doing different things that are active outside, dogs, any sort of animal. So I just love spending time with people, spending time with friends and family, and in whatever way that may be, and just trying to sort of bring joy in wherever I am. So, that's a little snippet about me.
Margaret seems cool.
That's awesome. I do have to jump in with a question real quick on the cooking classes.
Yes.
Are you located in Florida?
No, I'm not.
Oh, where are you? I'm not either. Where are you located at?
I'm just outside the Lowell office. Yeah.
Oh, still too far.
Okay.
Okay.
To Boston. I need to come to one of your classes.
Yes.
I teach.
Yes.
You know what's the most entertaining one is I often will help Girl Scouts actually learn how to use knives, like knife skills.
Okay.
It's a little scary at first.
Yeah.
But I often take, what I learn in my everyday everyday job and learning, about other people and try and cater it to what I'm learning from these 10-year-olds that are trying to use different skills and learn different skills. So it is definitely a learning process. You try and understand a bit more about where they're coming from, what their home life looks like, so that you can understand how, maybe cautious you should be around their workstation, and what might be coming. So it's a fun experience for sure.
Cautious around their workstation.
Yes. Yes. I didn't know you could outsource this for your kids to learn how to use knives.
Yes.
I did not realize this, but it sounds like we're gonna have to road trip to Boston and do a cooking class.
Sure.
All right.
Yes. All right,
Yes.
Bri. She's
Yeah.
got the
He set the bar high.
I was gonna say.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah, Margaret is very cool, so I'm gonna have a hard time following that one up. But I'm Bri. I've been at UKG actually less than a year. I joined in May of 2025. So it's been a wonderful almost year of just learning a lot of things. When I joined UKG, like HR software and the entire space of kind of HR software was brand new to me. And so it's been really cool to just learn a lot of the different pieces that go into it, all the different aspects, meet some just really cool people and users of UKG. And then I've actually spent a lot of time on the other side of things, so less so with admins and more so with employees, specifically frontline workers. And so a big focus of mine has been the frontline worker network and just understanding the needs and challenges of those frontline workers, both during their workday, but also largely outside of their workday. So kind of the bookends of like before work and after work, and where UKG might be able to serve them in those areas. And so it's been really cool to kind of merge that frontline worker side of things with then, okay, how can admins and the employee or employer side of things kind of like come together? So I spent a lot of time in that space. And then I've also spent some time on our pro pay, so payroll and then employee pay side of things and learning all the ins and outs of payroll. I am by no means an expert in any stretch of the imagination. It is fascinating to watch the folks that are, but it's been really interesting. And so kind of already touched on it and we'll echo a lot of what Margaret already said, but one of my favorite things about UKG is the people and the people that I work with. Our UX research and just generally our UX team is full of just really cool people. You've already met Margaret, so you know that. But just everyone is so eager to learn and to help our customers and to help the folks using UKG, and they're bringing just really amazing ideas on how we can get closer to our customers all the time. They're just a really empathetic, really amazing group of people. So love working with them every day. I think it's just done nothing but help me grow in my role by knowing all of them. And then on the other side of it, I also really just enjoy the challenge. HR software is hard. I'm sure you all know that and talk about it a lot. And it's a really complex space, but sometimes being a researcher in a really complex space it's interesting. No day is the same. You're constantly learning new things. I'm learning from our customers and all of that. So that's probably my favorite thing. And then outside of work, so I am in the New Hampshire area, work out of the Lowell office, and Margaret actually the other day said I was the most New Hampshire person she has met. And so I spend a lot of my time hiking and skiing and just outside on the weekends and after work. I like to travel a lot and have spent, a lot of time traveling, whether it's to national parks or to new countries. And then I read a lot and I craft a lot, and I'm a member of a pottery studio in town, which I love. So yeah, I am a very busy go person. And that's what I do outside of work.
Well, you're cool
That's
too.
awesome.
What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We've
Glad
got
I passed.
You definitely
curious.
met that
We've got
right
a
there. Yeah,
teacher
we set the
that's,
bar
like,
high,
over here,
Margaret,
like,
and then
teaching
Bri
cooking.
right up there.
And she's like teaching pottery. Like, this is really, really cool. I think that's super cool. So I think it wouldn't be fair to the one person that made sure the ladies we're here today, which is Dalton. You are his favorite team at all of UKG. We hear about it a lot.
Yes.
He loves this team, and I think it's fair, Dalton, that now that we've got all the intros, you get the first question out the gate.
Well, just so folks understand what this team is, I'll go ahead and start with one, can you define UX for our listeners, for those who don't know what it is? And two, where might they have seen you all before, our listeners? So whoever wants to take it is more than welcome to.
Bri, you can take the first one.
All right, I'll take the first one. So UX or user experience is essentially just understanding users, their needs, their challenges, how they behave, why they behave certain ways, or why they're taking certain actions. In our case, it's largely understanding how they interact with the UKG software. So, what they're trying to do when they're in a specific part of the software, what they're trying to accomplish, maybe what they're not able to accomplish. And so we take a lot of that information and really try and deeply understand what those needs are, what those challenges are, and take it back to kind of the rest of the product and design teams. And so often we're translating, what our customers are saying, what those users are saying into insights or information that can then be used by our product partners and by our design partners to create the user interface that you're interacting with, or to create the new features or the new products that are making UKG better.
Yeah, and that was probably one of the better explanations of what UX research is.
The well-practiced statement.
There you go.
And where have you seen us? So if you've ever been to Aspire, that's where we definitely have met Dalton quite a few times. You are a frequent UX research room person that comes by. So we are often at Aspire. We have a lot of things that you can do with sticky notes or dot voting or just talking to us. And it gives you a space to really just be able to put face to face and sort of share some of your experiences and what's going on in your organization and how things are happening. You can also see us often. I mean, I've talked to many customers after that of we often will do usability tests, or we'll do one-on-one conversations with specific customers if they are specific to, an industry, or they're having a particular challenge, or they have a specific product. We also have lots of surveys that you might see our name on, and we send those out to different admins to help us really understand, what are some of the things that you like seeing in the products and how may we improve them. So there's a lot of different ways that we kind of show up, but it might be more in the background. You might see our name sort of attached to different things. And then when we get to sort of have those one-on-one conversations with people, those are my favorite parts of it, to really just get to know the customers and the experiences that you're having on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I don't think that I knew that you guys existed until I ran into your research room at Aspire. And like you said, with the Post-it notes and the sticker voting, and there was one year where you guys had poker chips to go ahead and drop into different little essentially like little pots for voting on different ideas. Like having that sort of like hands-on when we've been staring at a screen all day is one of the best sort of ways to shake it up that I found. So I love going there, and our constant users will know that I shout out that experience room constantly when we're at Aspire.
Can I say I love the $100 exercise? That's my favorite one. I have a team member that I think she's on the same love level as Dalton. And I constantly talk about Dalton to her. I'm like, you guys should just be friends, is what we talk about. But I'm with Dalton. I think all the different items has been always really, really helpful. All right, you ready? You ready to jump in? Because I do have a question if you're not ready. I wasn't going to have any, but then they started talking. And I'm like over here, like writing, like I have to ask this because Dalton just said about Aspire. I'm just going to go ahead and ask it. So you were at Aspire. We don't have an Aspire this year. This is how Dalton met you, how most customers would get to know you. How do you think that research room at the Aspire has helped the work you do? Because that was very new within like the last couple years. And how has that impacted or improved or given you different ideas?
Great question.
Yeah. So I helped with the research room this year. I didn't actually go to Aspire. So Bri, maybe you can take this one. Yeah.
So I'll start off by saying, as much fun as you have participating in the research space in the research room, we have just as much fun coming up with those activities and running them and interacting with all of you. So love to hear it's a hit. In terms of how that information is used, that's a great question. So I can talk mostly about this year's. It's the only one I've ever been to, so the only one I really know. And so this year we largely focused on kind of bigger trends and less on product specific areas. So in the past, my understanding has been, there will be activities on a specific product, a specific feature, and kind of getting feedback on those things or trying to understand, again, those needs or challenges or what users are trying to accomplish or what customers are trying to accomplish within those smaller spaces. This year we went much bigger. So we kind of had two different topics. One was workforce trends and one was AI. And a lot of what we were trying to do in those areas was just really understand how our customers are thinking about those spaces. What's top of mind for them? What are they already doing in those spaces? What are they already thinking about? Are they kind of already implementing things in their workspace, whether it's in AI or in certain workforce trends that they're trying to, carry out various policies or trying to think through different things. And so we had a lot of different activities that gathered information on those two pieces. And then what we do as a research team is, well, two things. We gather all that data as it's happening each day. We had an amazing team at home actually this year that was then taking like photos of the sticky notes that went up or the activities that happened. And they were putting it into spreadsheets and kind of helping us to organize it at home, which was incredible. And then when we got home, we all sat down and figured out kind of, okay, what were we hearing? What are the insights that we can pull out of this? What were the big themes? What's kind of impactful? What's important for us at UKG? And so we had a lot of different conversations around it. We had a few debrief sessions. We kind of went back into the data and looked at it. And then we put together a couple presentations for our organization and shared that out. But it also just sparked a lot of conversation kind of across the organization, both in the AI space, which Margaret can talk a little bit more too, because that was her focus area, and then also in the trend space, and really just highlighting like the things that we were hearing, the concerns that people had, what's coming down the line. AI obviously morphed its way into those workplace trends because it's been such a hot topic. But it really just got the conversation going at UKG to really figure out, okay, what do we need to even do about this? Like, where do we need to focus our efforts? What does this kind of look like for us in the next couple years, if anything? And so it was really interesting to kind of see that how it all kind of came together, both from the planning to the actual execution to then, okay, how does this have an impact afterwards?
Love that.
I think it's also, so I've been to a few years of the Aspire Research Room, and it's kind of fun to see how it has evolved. As Dalton probably remembers, we had a lot of, in the early years, very much so butcher paper with handwritten titles and things like that. And we really wanted to, that's such a great way to get just really quick feedback on specific designs or anything or questions that we have. But doing it this way this year really, I think, was a very fun creative exercise for us because we had to think outside of the box. So if you think of, I don't know if you saw this one, but we came up with an AI bingo board. And it was really like putting bingo dots on specific parts to understand AI maturity and how different organizations are seeing where AI can play a role. And so some of these new activities that we've been coming up with have been it's kind of expanded our way of thinking of just beyond, those one question, two questions, but more so what can we do that's really cool and creative and a little outside the box to get you thinking and excited about the future of UKG and the products that we have.
Thank you.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
I have more questions, but I don't want to just keep hopping in. So I want to see Andy and Cheryl. I haven't given you a chance to ask any yet. So.
Well, I was going to say you're an honorary member, really, Dalton. I think is how
it's true
how that works. I just had a simple question on obviously your location change, right? Do Hopefully you got more interaction, right? Oh yeah. I mean, it's in more visibility helps, right? And then people understand what you're doing, and I'll let you go. Yeah, take it away.
Yeah, again, I can't necessarily speak to previous years, but yeah, we were in a new space being in the Expo Hall, which I think both came with like very big benefits, but also some challenges that we weren't totally expecting. One of them being it was kind of hard to hear, and where we were, I think it wasn't maybe as prominent as we were hoping, which again, we learned. We also weren't like in past years, we had been on the schedule. Like I think it had been like you could go to the UX room, and we didn't have that this year. And so I think there were, but then on the other side, we got a ton of foot traffic. I think people that maybe never would have given us a thought before popping in. And so it definitely had its, I would say, stronger benefits than it, some of those challenges. And it was really cool to just have people come through multiple days in a row, obviously Dalton being our star participation person, but many people coming back every day because we were, the activities, we would change them up. And I think they were just really excited to give that feedback. It was also really cool to be in the Expo Hall and see what was going on there. There was a lot going on there, which was really cool. And so it was cool to just see how other areas were interacting with customers and what they were doing in those spaces, and then how it was different in our space. It was also a much bigger space, which was really fun, and I think just gave a little bit more freedom to be creative, like Margaret was saying. And so we're excited to kind of see how that morphs. And it was a new thing that we tried this year. We went back when we got back to the office and after Aspire and talked about, okay, what worked and what didn't work. We almost UX researched our own UX research in a way where we were like, all right, what worked, what didn't work, what might we want to change in the future? What do we want to take from this year and make sure that we keep doing? The poker chip one was definitely, up there in terms of making sure that made an appearance again. But it was, it was definitely a really cool experience being kind of in the Expo Hall and being in that location. Also, I got to eat a lot of those ice creams that lady was handing out, and I was a big fan of that.
That's a bonus right there.
It's a great location.
They were really good.
No, I'm glad Cheryl asked that question because I wrote that down. You may not remember me, Bri, but I remember you. And I think I was one of the last people. And I said, what do you think about this? I'm like, it's so loud in here. I cannot think. So I'm glad you asked that because it has been very different than the past sessions where you've been a little contained. People have had the opportunity to kind of think, because you aren't the only researchers. Like, we have to go into analytic mode and start asking questions internally. So if I had my druthers, it would be move us back privately, put an ice cream lady outside so that they could still get the ice cream. Maybe a place where there's still some traffic in front, but like a booth, or maybe it's kind of more enclosed if they're going to stick you in the Expo Hall, or there's like a door and maybe a little rooftop. So at least old people like myself's brain can still function while you're like also still in the, in the thick of it, right? You've still got that flow of traffic that you all really liked. Andy's I
was going to say, that was a good point. And one thing that we talked about, we weren't quite able to go as deep into the conversations, I think, as we would have liked or as we could in the years past with folks, because it was, both loud and a little bit busier. And so, trying to find that kind of happy middle of like having those deeper conversations where you can really sit and think with a customer, but also still get that foot traffic. So, and it's great feedback. Thank you.
Well, I will say that in years past, it's been a destination to kind of find and hunt you guys out. But that's also a part of the problem, is the finding and hunting you out. I think last year at Aspire, being in the Expo Hall really gave you that exposure that you want to see, so that people can understand what you're doing and want to participate. And kudos to you guys. The fun that you bring to it. Not only are we having these in-depth conversations, but you're also making it interesting. You're catching a person off guard, making them have some fun while getting very valuable information out of them. So kudos to you guys for doing that. But I would agree, now that you've had the exposure, having it be that destination that people want to go to, but then you can have that little quiet space for those conversations. I think it's important. But again, kudos to you guys. But I guess my question is where do you guys see the evolution of this UX? I know we kind of talked about that Aspire is not happening this year, but where do you want to see this go to in maybe like the next 2 to 5 years?
And can I ask Andy for clarification?
Yep.
I'm really curious. I love that question. Is that the UX as a whole? So not just even Aspire, you're talking like, oh, that's that I'm interested.
Yeah.
So you're asking where is UX going as a whole in the next 2 to 5 years, like within UKG?
Yeah.
Yeah. Margaret, do you want to take this one or do you want me to take it?
Okay. I can start it. Yeah, I think at UKG, we have always had a focus on users. I think even more so, UX is becoming even more of an important, differentiator with UKG. And I think we want more than ever to be even closer to our customers, understanding what's going on day to day, understanding how you guys are using different pieces of our software, where you're struggling, where you're sort of making your own workarounds just to make things work. And I think there has been even more of a focus on that, which makes me really excited about the future of UX at UKG and just how much we are going to be able to connect with our customers, how much our PMs are continuing to connect with customers and learn about, what they're doing, rather than just having, just the UX team do it. I think it's a really, really exciting time for us to make this an experience that everyone wants to come and use their HR software and want to, do things that make their lives easier within the software. I think that's our main goal, is really to have UX help drive that and have a lot of the research and a lot of the conversations that we have with customers really drive just the future of UKG and the products that we have.
So I have a question off of that then, where UX, right, and then UKG has CABs, right, the customer advisory boards. So how do you partner with the CABs then? Or is there a handoff? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so CABs are often the customer advisory boards. It's really a way for PMs to do just very quick, this is a design iteration that we're thinking of. This is something that we are proposing. What are sort of general thoughts on this? Whereas UX might go a little bit deeper. So we might do, again, one of the reasons that we love one-on-one sessions is because in those larger focus groups, you often have an hour and you have quite a few different customers, and then you only get to hear tidbits from every single person, rather than diving in of, how does this fit into your workflow? What does this look like in your organization? What are some of the challenges that you see, and how might you be using this to help solve some of those challenges? So we help, the biggest way I would describe it is the CABs really get a good directional understanding, and they really are a great touch point to understand more from customers and make sure that you're continually, every product decision has some sort of customer just understanding and opinion and backing. And then when there are, some other behavioral questions or workflow questions that we might be able to support more, that's where we can come in and really help the PMs to understand a bit more, or the product teams to understand a bit more about just those more of the like whys behind things. Why are people doing things a certain way? Why are they maybe choosing to use this one path versus another path? Things like that help us to differentiate, the product from other parts. Yeah.
So this feels like, and for sure Cheryl, and I'm sure Andy and Dalton remember this, like they used to do those interviews back in the day where they would have those customer interviews about a particular product or research, and you're really kind of digging in, and it's like not a beta, but was like a smaller group of people, or maybe like a one-on-one. It feels like this is kind of the evolution of that, right? That it started with, if I'm hearing it correctly, because as Cheryl talked about CABs, I'm like, I just started writing down all the ways that they interact with customers. And she brought up a really good point. How do you take all of this feedback? Are you pre-engineer? Are you post-engineer? Do you fall like somewhere in the middle? Like in terms of, they've already built this concept and then you go dig in? Or is it like, no, we need to be building this because this is what the people are saying? Like, where do you fall in that?
And to tack onto that question, how do you go ahead and balance UX improvement and making it easier for users with the, like, I guess the best way to put it would be the sort of set in our ways HRIS admins who are like, why are you changing this?
Right.
So I want to add that on to Veronica's question.
Yeah. Margaret, do you want me to take it?
Sure, you can go for it.
Okay. So where do we fall? That's a great question. And I think it actually ties pretty well into the where do you see UX research in the next 2 to 5 years? Because if you had asked me this even 6 months ago, my answer would be different than it is today. So with UX research, typically, this is not always the case, but typically we fall both in the pre kind of development stage of things and in that post development stage of things. So there's a lot of different kind of ways that it is talked about in the UX research world. But there are researchers that are doing a lot of strategic work, as we often call it, or discovery work. And so that's really understanding what are the problems and challenges kind of on a bigger scale, and what are some things that we should build or could build to help solve that. And so taking those insights, helping to inform the product teams who are then saying, okay, we need to make a product that does this, or we need to, make a feature that helps them do this because we're noticing these things that we've discovered about our customers. So that is one area that UX research can kind of come in. And then on the other side of things, the design team, the product team has come up with the design, they've come up with the product, they've come up with the feature, but they want to know, can our users use it? Can they complete the tasks that they need to complete on this? Are they, able to find what they need to find? And so often UX research will slot into kind of that space of things. Feature's been developed, maybe it's just been designed, there's a prototype, but it's not fully live. And so we'll go and test it with users, and that's more the evaluative research is often what we call that, or validation research. And so, does this work, basically? Is it good to release? Can our engineers kind of take it from here? And then there's a kind of another phase that happens once something's been released. UX research often doesn't fall into this phase, but our analytics team does, which is kind of the listen phase. So something's been released, it's out in the wild, our customers are using it. What are they saying? What's going well? What's not going well? What do we need to know? And so we'll often use less qualitative feedback, so hearing from our users kind of with words and talking through it, and more quantitative feedback of what are our metrics saying, where maybe are things falling off in terms of task completion or issues that are arising, and then they'll often bring that back either to the product teams or the design teams and say, hey, we need to take a look at this. There's a problem here. Now, that's how it's typically operated, I would say, for the last many years, most of my career for UX research. That is definitely changing. We are like in the midst of a pretty strong shift in how just UX research, and I think the UX space is going to operate going forward. And I will be honest, I don't really know what it looks like for the next 2 to 5 years. It is changing so fast that it cannot be overstated. I think with the rise of just AI and AI tools, and then just how product teams and design teams are operating and how things are structured, I wouldn't be surprised if UX research finds its way more into kind of more pervasive. So rather than being kind of in stages, it just kind of sits throughout the entire designer product lifecycle. I could see us kind of taking on various new responsibilities or finding new ways to interact with our customers. The nice thing about AI is it's speeding up a lot of the more tedious parts of our job to free us up to have more conversations with customers and just really kind of do that important piece of work. But otherwise, I don't know, it's kind of the Wild West right now. This is like the most change. I've been in my career for almost 10 years at this point, and this is easily the fastest, most change I've seen in such a short period of time in my career. And it's exciting. And also a little bit terrifying, but it's mostly exciting.
HR technology, because that's been our life since I think we stepped in it. It's like always an evolution of crazy, and AI just added a lot more crazy.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure you all can relate on that side of things for sure. It's interesting, but no one I think can say really for sure where is it going to be in 2 to 5 years.
So each of you
Let's unleash you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so you guys had already touched on this slightly when you mentioned what you were working on, but when we were going ahead and doing the emailing back and forth, making sure that you guys were all good to come on here, each of you had something that was sort of highlighted of like, this is what I'm working on. For Bri, what was highlighted was the frontline worker network, and Margaret, it was Bright and other AI powered features. So my question for each of you around sort of like those projects that you're currently embedded in, what are you most excited about that you're learning right now? And what is some feedback that you're seeing again and again that just is very pervasive, but that you weren't expecting?
Ooh. I can go first and talk about continuing on the thread of AI. I'm working on a lot of our AI driven products and how that fits into this particular product of UKG. I think one of the things that most excites me is the opportunity to make lives easier. I know AI promises that a whole lot and people are probably rolling their eyes, but it's a really exciting space. I think we are really trying to unfold, what does that mean for all of you? What does it mean with an AI powered product? What does that mean in terms of your workflow? What does it help solve better than what you can currently do now? I think there is over and over again, there is a level of excitement about the potential to be able to free people up from the tedious things that they do today, or the things that maybe go unnoticed until later on and that you can get notified of before it becomes a problem. I think those are the opportunities that I'm seeing of, that people are really excited about. They're like, this would save me so much time. This is something that will really change the way that I do my work today and will help me just connect with users. I think my biggest one is thinking about, I've been primarily in the retail and then the healthcare space. Retail store managers want to be on the floor talking to customers. They want to be able to set their people, make sure that their people are all set, that they're avoiding issues, but they want to be able to be that person on the floor that really shows people that they're there and that they care about them. They want to make sure that they have a good experience. Same things goes for healthcare. And what we can do with UKG is really help alert them of the things that maybe they would have to go and dig for in an HR software or in their software, and maybe we could surface those a little bit easier for them to understand right away rather than wait later on and then they have to go deal with it. So it's really trying to get the people back to the people. And I really love just thinking about AI as a way of doing that, of just getting rid of those tedious tasks and giving people the opportunity to be better at just connecting with other people and giving sort of that agency back to our users. So I'd say that's probably where I'm most excited, especially in a lot of these places where it is so important to connect with who you're working with and the customers that you have or the patients that you have, whoever it is. I think making a more human workplace is something that we all strive for, and just making sure that we all can hear each other and understand each other and getting rid of those tedious tasks is what I'm most excited about.
Well said.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to beat that slogan, but yeah, so I, like I said, have been focused on the frontline worker network, and really more specifically from the lens of the frontline worker. So not so much on the admin or the customer side, but really understanding employees, frontline worker employees, and their needs and their challenges. And no surprise, a lot of what we're hearing from the frontline workers is that life is getting harder and things are expensive, and managing, their day-to-day can just be incredibly challenging for a lot of them. They're working, maybe atypical shifts. They have kids at home that they're trying to, figure out childcare for, and transportation, and then the train breaks down. There's just there's so many things and it piles on. And so a lot of what UKG is doing and a lot of what I'm doing as a researcher is, really trying to understand, okay, what does their day look like? What are they trying to manage? Where is their time really taken up? And how can we help to mitigate some of that? And so you've probably heard it. There was a release actually right at Aspire around kind of the 3 areas that we're focusing on. So financial wellness, health, and then everyday essentials with frontline workers. And so a lot of that actually stemmed from research that me and a couple other researchers had done, as well as other efforts throughout UKG from our global insights team and others. And it all kind of came together and we were like, these are kind of the big 3 things that we need to really focus on to help frontline workers. And it was cool to kind of see it all triangulate and all of us land in this kind of similar place. And so now the question becomes, okay, we know these are challenges. How are we at UKG kind of uniquely positioned to help frontline workers in these spaces? What can we do with our software and what can we do to help admins or to help our customers to serve frontline workers or to help them in these spaces? And then what can we do, on our employee facing side of things? So whether it's in, the Pro app or in other areas to also help frontline workers in these areas. And so it's been really cool to be in a space that, is exciting and new for UKG to explore. I think there's a lot of uncharted territory in terms of, just trying to figure out what does this mean and kind of just constantly learning new things. It's also it's cool to help kind of that subset of folks that I think, generally speaking, have had a really challenging couple of years, with the pandemic, which we just, I think, are celebrating the 6th anniversary of that hitting, I think, today. Sorry to bring that up, but, the pandemic and I think just a lot of the challenges that they've experienced over the last several years. And it's cool to kind of see some of the work that we can do to really help out that group of people. And, that's what we love as researchers, as Margaret said, like, how can we make things easier and develop products to make lives easier for others so that they can spend more of their time doing the things that they want to be doing, whether that's with family or doing the things that they love outside of work, refine that time for them, refine that energy for them. So yeah, that's what gets me really excited about it.
Doing things like pottery and cooking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. You get it.
All right, Dalton.
Well, we are getting close to the end of our time. So before we wrap up, let's go ahead and talk about the word of the episode. So for anyone who doesn't know, we go ahead and have a word of the episode each episode. It's just 1 word long. And what this is used for is we have monthly meetings with a quiz at the end with a chance for folks to go ahead and win gift cards from our sponsor. And one of those quiz questions is, what is the word of the episode from our most recent podcast? So with that in mind, Bri and Margaret, would you two like to go ahead and come up with a word of the episode that you feel sort of encapsulates what you guys have been talking about today? I realize that I've gone ahead and
Talk amongst yourself.
Yeah, feel free. Talk amongst yourselves. Spitball live. We love to see it.
Oh boy.
And it can only be 1 word, right?
One word.
Okay.
Yep.
1 word, not a phrase.
Maybe max 2 words for 2 people, but it can't be like a phrase.
Oh,
I think we've had some 1, 2, good job. I'm just kidding.
I feel like user is too on the nose.
Yes.
But it could be that. Insights. We talked a lot about that.
Insights could be a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Great. That is my contribution.
I mean, research is great. There's a lot of different
research.
ones.
Okay, that's a good one.
We couldn't get too obvious. I think insights was. I think that's good.
Well, I think it's all about watching. It's all about listening, right? We just wanted to get the word. What do you think? What would sum up what you ladies talked about today?
What if it's listen? We listen to our customers. We listen to what you all are saying, and then we implement it. So I would say listen.
Sold.
I've
been convinced.
You guys are next to each other. You can high five each other.
I don't think they are.
Well, in my screen, you're next to each other.
Okay.
Oh, it's like a virtual high five.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know which side she's on. So,
So there you go. I'm all about the virtual high fives. I don't know. Long distance high fives, it all works out. Yeah.
Before we wrap up, Veronica, Andy, Cheryl, do any of you have a final question for Margaret and Bri?
No question. Just thank you, ladies.
Thank
This was
you.
fun.
thank
Yeah.
you.
It was
Great to learn
awesome.
about you and your roles and what you do within UKG.
Very, very insightful, and hopefully, able to help drive some of that excitement for you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. This
so
has been
much.
wonderful. And we appreciate all that you all are doing in terms of just bringing this podcast to light. And I think we're excited to hear from all our customers. So, yeah.
Well, then, I think the final question that we might be able to end with then is, most people might be able to know about connecting with you at Aspire. If they're trying to go ahead and give feedback for those one-on-ones, who should they reach out to?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I would say contact whoever your representative is that you normally talk to at UKG and just say, I want to talk to UX research, or I want to get on their panel. I would say that will be your good way in. And then we often will send out surveys or ask for help from different people to sign up for different usability tests or just one-on-one interviews with you. And it's a great way to just be part of our network to get exposed to some of those opportunities.
Wonderful.
Dalton, are you pulling up your email right now?
I'm over here
I think I'm already on the list, but I do need to reach out to my Canon
Email
CSM just
Jay.
to make sure.
Right?
Awesome. Well, thank you both again for being here today. We really appreciate it. It was fantastic to hear about all the ways that you are able to listen to users, to go ahead and get that input, and how you use that input to help craft a better product for all of our users. So thank you so much for being here. This has been a Chicago Users production, logging out.
Thanks
Thanks all.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.